The final day of Bahrain testing has officially concluded with the checkered flag waving at 7 p.m. Sakia time, and honestly, we have just witnessed one of the most ferocious, smoky and hierarchy-shaking days the paddock has seen in a decade. After being forced to shut their garage doors yesterday because of Kimi Antonelli's dramatic engine blow-up, Mercedes did not simply recover, they delivered a statement performance. Antonelli's blistering lap of 1 minute 33.669 seconds shattered every benchmark of the 2026 generation so far. It wasn't just quick, it was dominant. But the most heart-stopping moment of the day came later. Lewis Hamilton, who had quietly completed 150 laps, suddenly stopped on track, leaving his Ferrari stranded and bringing out a red flag. Was this a deliberate run-dry test to measure fuel limits to the final drop? Or did Ferrari's carefully built image of bulletproof reliability show its first crack at the very last moment? Meanwhile, Oscar Piastri completed a staggering 153 laps, turning the afternoon into a full endurance simulation and sending a strong message about McLaren's durability. Before we break down Antonelli's historic benchmark, Hamilton's mysterious stoppage, and Piastri's marathon run in full technical depth, subscribing to the channel to follow the unfolding 2026 revolution with me would be incredible support. Now, let's begin deconstructing the final Bahrain testing report with the deepest paddock analysis possible. Mercedes didn't just circulate today, they crowned a new speed king of the paddock after yesterday's nightmare. When Andrea Kimi Antonelli stepped into the car for the afternoon session, the entire atmosphere shifted. He erased George Russell's earlier benchmark of 1 minute 33.918 seconds by setting an astonishing 1 minute 33.669 seconds lap. That number represents a performance level no one in the 2026 generation had even approached until now. The raw power of the Mercedes W17 Power Unit looked devastating, particularly at the end of the straights where top speed figures left rivals visibly trailing. Under low fuel conditions, the car's aggressive and razor-sharp response on corner entry highlighted just how lethal the Mercedes aero package can be when unleashed. Mercedes sent a global message by finishing the test clearly in first and second place. Toto Wolff's earlier "we're behind" comments seem more like a calculated delaying tactic than a genuine concern. And beyond the headline time, Antonelli's performance proves something equally important. The new generation of young talent can adapt to these ferocious 2026 machines at astonishing speed. Mercedes didn't just recover this week, they reset the standard. The most talked about event in the Bahrain paddock today was the massive endurance marathon between Lewis Hamilton and the Ferrari SF26. Hamilton completed exactly 150 laps throughout the day, covering nearly 3 race distances alone. Ferrari's stability was sending a message to rivals: even if we lack pace, our reliability will exhaust you. However, with just 10 minutes left in the session, Hamilton stopped his car at turn 8, causing the final red flag of the session. Initial reports from deep within the paddock suggest this was a planned run-dry test by Ferrari engineers, meant to measure the exact point where the systems stop when fuel is exhausted. However, the way the car stopped and the mechanical noises raised questions for some in the paddock. Did the Ferrari engine give up at the last second? If this was a genuine failure, Ferrari's flawless image on the road to the 2026 title has taken a serious hit before Melbourne. The serious expression on Hamilton's face as he exited the car strengthens the possibility that this wasn't just a fuel test. While Hamilton shook the paddock with 150 laps, a quiet but even more impressive response came from the McLaren garage. Oscar Piastri completed exactly 153 laps, becoming the driver with the most laps of the day and the entire test. The McLaren MCL40 appears to be the most trouble-free and fluid-looking car on track. The fact that Piastri found such a flawless and consistent pace in the afternoon after that massive lock-up in the morning shows that McLaren has solved the gearbox and ERS integration for the 2026 regulations. Instead of focusing on raw speed today, McLaren tested 2026's complex energy recovery systems to the extreme. Piastri, following the same millimetric lines for 153 laps, proved to rivals just how serious McLaren's win-through reliability strategy for 2026 really is. McLaren is ready to head to Melbourne as the paddock's hidden giant. Red Bull and Max Verstappen left the paddock in great curiosity when they handed over the seat to Isack Hadjar after the morning session. Verstappen finished the day in P5, but everyone knows that Red Bull is still hiding its true speed in the garage. The incredible traction of the car at corner exits during Verstappen's laps whispers that the Ford-backed power unit might be the best in the paddock regarding torque management. Today, Red Bull again focused on long-run data rather than speed laps. Although the small mechanical snags Isack Hadjar faced in the afternoon seem to be Red Bull's only weakness, it's certain that the technical team will solve these issues before Melbourne. Red Bull is currently like the paddock's quiet storm. They aren't showing their hand to anyone, but every telemetry data point screams that they still have another 0.5 seconds in their pocket. Verstappen's calmness in the car is the clearest proof that everything is going according to plan. On the sadder side of the paddock, Aston Martin and Cadillac were present once again. Valtteri Bottas broke down at the very beginning of the morning session, taking Cadillac's reliability nightmare to its peak. Cadillac was the team with the fewest laps and the most breakdowns over the 3 days. Alternator and vibration issues have paralyzed the American giant before Melbourne. On the other hand, Adrian Newey's famous engine cover experiments continued in the Aston Martin garage today, but these felt more like band-aids for the car's excessive weight and gearbox crisis rather than a search for innovation. The AMR26 is well above the minimum weight limit, and the jolting synchronization error in transferring the Honda engine's torque to the gearbox causes drivers to constantly lock up tires at turn 10. Even if you are Newey, solving this mechanically based triple nightmare before Melbourne requires a miracle. For Aston Martin, 2026 has turned from a championship dream into a battle for survival. With 3 intense days of Bahrain testing complete, the technical picture of 2026 is finally coming into focus. Mercedes sits at the top in outright speed with a stunning lap of 1 minute, 33.669 seconds. But the shadow of yesterday's engine blow-up still lingers. The pace is unquestionable. The long-term durability is not. Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton answered with a different kind of statement: endurance. Completing 150 laps in a single day, they showcased impressive operational stability. Yet that mysterious late-session red flag has planted a small but important seed of doubt across the paddock. McLaren quietly built what may be the strongest reliability case of all, reaching 153 laps and positioning themselves as the most dependable package in the emerging 2026 order. Consistency, not headlines, was their weapon. Red Bull, meanwhile, avoided chasing peak lap times altogether. Instead, they demonstrated something arguably more dangerous: extremely refined and high-quality engine integration. No drama, no smoke, just controlled execution. In 2026, everything revolves around a delicate triangle: heat management, vibration damping, and ERS harvesting efficiency. Master that balance and you unlock performance. Miss it, and the car punishes you instantly. Cadillac and Aston Martin still appear some distance away from that equilibrium. But Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, and Red Bull have formed what already feels like a true group of death heading into Melbourne. Drivers are no longer simply steering a race car. They are managing a living, breathing power plant that can change character corner by corner. And in this new era, the champion may not be the one who sets the single fastest lap, but the one whose engine stays solid all the way to the final race of the season. The final day of Bahrain testing ended as night settled over Sakhir. And one truth now echoes through the paddock: the 2026 generation may become the most ferocious, technical, and unpredictable era in Formula One history. Kimi Antonelli's blistering benchmark of 1 minute 33.669 seconds injected enormous confidence into Mercedes and firmly placed them at the top of the raw speed charts. But just as the silver arrows were celebrating, Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari, stopping after 150 laps, sent a wave of tension through the pit lane. Was it a simple fuel run taken to the absolute limit, or the first visible crack in Ferrari's carefully built reliability image? Meanwhile, McLaren's durability display and Red Bull's quietly executed program have lit the fuse for what promises to be a massive confrontation in Melbourne. The competitive order looks tight, volatile, and ready to explode. So what do you think? Does Antonelli's headline time make Mercedes the clear favorite for 2026? Or is it too early to crown a king before the first race weekend even begins? Is Hamilton's stoppage a genuine red flag for Ferrari, or just clever data gathering? And can Aston Martin and Cadillac overcome their early season nightmares in time for Melbourne? Let's break down the Bahrain Final report and your 2026 championship predictions in the comments. I'll continue analyzing every paddock leak, every hidden detail, and every technical clue that surfaces. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay ahead of the freshest paddock news and the unfolding 2026 revolution. As always, I wish you safe, stable, and fastest exits from the pit at all times.